go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Pixels monthly live stream or bi-monthly live stream. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening is something that I have to say several times a week because with our team being spread across the States, Europe, and Asia, it's always morning, afternoon, and evening somewhere. So it's great. I hope you are all having a great day, and we will talk about a number of exciting things this month. We'll go over production updates with lots of pictures and videos, fun stuff to look at. We will have a walkthrough of the upcoming Pledge Manager and how you'll be able to select your rewards. Then I'll go over the results of the coding challenge that we held over the last couple of months, which were very interesting and a lot of fun. There'll probably be some other, updates here and there, and of course I'll be answering questions. I may wait and answer questions after sort of the rest of the presentation today, but we'll see. I'm gonna make sure I keep the comment sections open, and if there is anything that requires my attention, I will try to address it right away. So with this introduction done, let's start with our production update. So generally speaking, things are going great. Production is progressing on many fronts, and I have tons of pictures and videos to show you. So let's get started. Let me go over here to make sure I can click on pictures. Okay. So this is not particularly exciting visually, but it's actually incredibly exciting for us. This is the type of reports that the circuit board factory sends us, right, when they make a batch. This, for instance, was a very specific batch of 4,321 piece FPCs, right, which are the circuit boards. And overall, right, they do a number of checks of making sure the circuit boards work, and all the results are extremely good, right? For instance, we only have I think like a handful of issues that are not fixable, right? So most of these, like this one that has a big number, the battery low voltage, hopefully it's not too small on screen, right? There are quite a large number, 47, but it's actually just that the battery is actually not properly soldered. So there's a lot that goes on to actually make sure that all the products are quality controlled, verified, and everything. And in fact, that will be sort of a theme through the updates you get today. So production of circuit boards is going great. Here. The casting of the dice is also going great. So I have a number of pictures and videos here. These red molds are just red because they decided to make them red, but I love it, so I want them to keep that. But yeah, here you can see some of our D20 cores. Again, these are the D20 cores being put in the molds, getting ready to be cast, and you can see some of their fixtures at the factory, how they're putting all the stuff together. You've seen a lot of this. It's just more of the same essentially, but just to show you that things are happening. This is probably Aurora being cast, I'm gonna guess. Yes, right. And so here is a little batch of Aurora D20s. They haven't had their sprues cut off yet, and so they're just waiting to be processed, because of course they do things in batch. These, for instance, have been sanded, which is why they look kind of weird, but this is like another step. You can actually see down here the worker doing the, I guess this is polishing actually, yeah, polishing the dice by hand. This is another fun picture. It's a bunch of midnight galaxies being put together. You know, these are midnight galaxies being painted or after being painted before the final polish or something like that, right? So you can see they're still kind of, they're super dull, right? But the numbers are painted. I need to click on this actually. Oh no, my bad. Let's see, can I click on it? 1 second. Where are you? You are, can I click on it? No, I cannot click on it. Ah, hold on 1 second. I need to find that thing. PowerPoint over here. To open that because I want to share what that looks like because it's kind of interesting. So once you know, like all the steps you saw, right? They're actually like very specific. Again, wrong window. My apologies. Very specific, and you know they have like their own standard operating procedures that they've established for the dice, right? A bunch of instructions, all the things to do, the things to look out for, right? And in fact, that is precisely what these are, for instance, right? So the inspection, you know, notice that there was something wrong here. I'm not even sure what it is. I think it might be the painting maybe, or there's a spec, right? And but you can see like they put the dice, you know, aside after inspection. These are, you know, the same, right? They're doing visual inspection, and you know, checking that all the numbers, all the dice are good. I don't know if the green arrow means good or if it's just a different bad. But yeah, you can see, you know, them comparing the different dice. And, you know, eventually they get, you know, they give us nice reports, right? Quality assurance reports. So for instance, this one, right, focusing on only the visual, you know, they can say like, this was what, a batch of 1,000. And they, you know, have 16 pieces where the paint wasn't good. They have 17 pieces where the one wasn't lasered correctly. You know, they have one piece where the one was engraved in the wrong orientation, you know, et cetera, right? And so most of those, the resin factory actually will just basically sand down the die and redo it to fix it. But it's just, you know, very exciting to see the attention to detail. Here's more, you know, details, for instance, of like, yeah, the one being lasered incorrectly, wrong position. This is them, you know, checking some onyx. Let me go to the next one. Here, this is them, you know, double checking the quality of the paint. And let me tell you, the paint they use for the numbers is so resistant. It's, yeah, it's like really, really strong. So anyway, and they do, you know, tons and tons of quality checking. Here, for instance, this is a typical, you know, spreadsheet of them going through and measuring every face, you know, the dimensions, making sure it's within tolerances, checking the resin, checking, I can't remember what those things say. I translated them before, but you know, essentially they're just literally going through every single one of them. And this is fantastic because that means we have great results. Moving on, we have, you know, videos and pictures of tooling for the other dice as well, right? Just because I'm fascinated by those and I think they're super cool to share. So these are the big steel plates that we make silicon molds of. And so, you know, we put these little inserts in there so you can tell this is a D8 insert. These are some of the other inserts that we have. And then once we put them, you know, inside there's an example here. This is for a D20, I think, inner mold, right? Once we put the inserts inside, then we can, you know, make silicon molds for that die, etc. And anyway, I'm not sure what he's talking about there, but you know, this is what they look like, and I thought it was super cool to share those. Of course, even those inserts go through extremely lengthy verification process. Here, this is, for instance, them, you know, checking the dimensions at all these points, all the points that you see in green here. This is, you know, the factory, you know, making sure that the insert was, you know, done exactly right. There's like this amount of information and quality checking for every single piece. All right. So again, this is great stuff. You know, but of course, not everything is perfect. Here, for instance, this is some of the other dice sizes that we're making. And you know, early on we had this issue where the circuit board would come unglued from the caddy, and this is what, you know, the video is showing us here. The problem is, just because of the way batch manufacturing works, the assembled caddies, right, this is what we're going to call these, or assembled cores, can be sitting for, you know, many days before they actually get cast. And ordinarily it's not really a problem, except for when it's a little bit hot for a few days. Electronics doesn't care, but the glue kind of softens a little bit maybe and comes off, right? So if you don't cast it right away, then this is a problem you can have. So we've had to work through this. We found a solution, and so, you know, this is not an issue anymore. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we have to work through. That only happens, you know, once you're in a factory setting, really. Speaking of other dice sizes, these here are some other molds. Yeah, so they look different than the red ones you saw, right? Because they're more recent, and you know, in between when we made the first ones and these, you know, the design evolved a little bit. Details don't really matter, right? What's important is that they work really well, you know, and we can make them efficiently. And in fact, here, this is the resin factory stress testing the molds, right, to see how many pulls we can get out of every mold. So these are just, you know, empty castings, right? But they're just cranking them out as fast as possible to see, like, at what point do the numbers start to tear, or, you know, what's the percentage of bubbles that we get? Do we need to, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Tons and tons of work, you know, to do these kinds of things. You know, eventually, you know, of course, we have dice, and you'll see we have all the dice to show you later. But, you know, this is like them double checking a couple dice at the factory, you know, clear so they can see everything inside in this case, and you know, everything looks good. So let me show you, for instance, another piece of interesting data. So let me go there. This is the inserts, right? So, you know, the dice and the chargers, they all need separate inserts. And I thought, you know, this was also something really fun to share. I won't go through too much details, but I just want to show you the amount of work that goes into all of these. You know, this is basically injection report. What is it called? Design for manufacturing analysis, right? So this is where, you know, the factory figures out how they're going to literally, you know, injection mold these pieces and make sure that they actually will work, and, you know, that there is no issue with like thickness or texture or, you know, all these things, you know, and they do this for everything. So this is very important. It's part of the process, part of why it takes, you know, everything takes a long time, but eventually, you know, we have, you know, all the pieces that we need. In fact, if I show you, yeah, this next part, right, this is them now checking, you know, precisely checking the, you know, the dimensions of every single insert, you know, making sure that everything is, oh, we're missing the link. Oh, well, that's okay. Making sure that everything is, you know, the way it should be. And in fact, once again, I'm going to share a giant spreadsheet where they take 1 million measurements to verify, right? And they do this for every single piece of every single insert, right? So that they're qualified, so that, you know, we have the products that we want in the end. Apologies, I'm, you know, kind of running through those just because I don't want to also bore you to death, but it's super interesting. One final thing that I find is fun here, you know, painting the lids. for the cases, right? So we are gonna paint the lids of the cases. You may have seen some of those. You probably will see in the product pictures or not, or I don't know. But anyway, we're not painting them red. This was just a test. But I really just like the machine they're using. It's like looks kind of like lots of fun. When I paint lids, oh, we probably don't want to share other people's product. Apologies. I didn't look at that. Yeah, the factory that makes those, they make dice from other people as well. But yeah, I when I paint my lids, I just go put a bunch of paint and then rub it off and all that. Yeah, they have a machine that's a tool that's so accurate they barely have any cleanup to do, which I think is fantastic. So that's kind of the updates in production. We have a few more that are not particularly exciting, like the large charging case. Things are happening. Packaging boxes, gift boxes, manuals, all these things. We're keeping some of those, for you to discover as you get your dice. But everything is going really well. And in fact, next month I'll be probably, I don't know if I'll be doing a video from there. I'm not sure, but I'll be in China again, overseeing some of the deliveries to the fulfillment partner. So with that intro done, let me just take one first break to answer questions, and then I'll move on to the next section. So the first question is from Mika, asking about orders made on Kickstarter and wanting to combine them to ship together. I do not know the answer to that. We'll have to get back to you. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Tom Flynn is asking about not being able to log the Kickstarter. I'll address this actually when I go over the pledge manager, because that is a concern for a number of people. Pablo Maciel talking about shipment to Brazil. Oh God, that's a good question. I do not know either. That one might take a longer time to answer. So sorry for skipping your question. As we saw it, but we will try to answer you as soon as possible. Devin J is asking, is there a list of currently planned features for the app? The main thing I'm wondering is if I need to roll 10d6 and I only have 4d6, can I pick those up and roll all 4 3 times and just have it keep total the first 10? It may not be a feature of the Pixels app because the Pixels app isn't really a game platform. However, I believe it is already a feature of, for instance, the Foundry integration. So if you need to roll multiple dice that are the same, you can just re-roll the same die multiple times. And so the short answer is I believe you will be able to do what you're looking for, but it may not necessarily be in the app itself. This is something I've talked about before. Starting to implement like role-specific role-specific rules or game-specific rules of like, I want to be able to take the top 2 of the this and that, but only if it's above 3 or etc. It starts to go down a path that maybe we don't want the just the official Pixels app to handle, but instead have like separate player sheets or things like that to handle instead. So will it be possible? 100%. Where it will happen, I don't know, but it will be possible. Let's see. Wilgrim on Twitch. Question: with all these changes to the manufacturing, has randomness checking been repeated to make sure that the new process don't impact randomness? Very good question. You will be able to check for yourself, actually, right? Because all the dice will store all their results. Hopefully, you know, perfect randomness is not what you're looking for, because they will never be, the dice will never be perfect. It's just, you know, they're good enough for a regular game, but if you need perfect distributions, you know, look elsewhere. Even when we did the initial, you know, like 10,000 roll or 20,000 roll, I can't remember, check, you know, even then, according to metrics, it was, you know, above average, and yet there was still like more than 10% difference between, you know, some numbers. So it's really difficult, right, to get perfect. We're not interested in it. We just want to get close. That being said, we have a new and updated rolling tester thing that we're putting together, so we can, you know, give you a more quantitative answer. AIM 2333 question in Pledge Manager: will we be able to upgrade our order? Yes, in fact, Pledge Manager is the next section. So let me actually switch over to that. 1 second. Pledge Manager. So, oh yes, actually I forgot. I'll return that to that after the Pledge Manager, because it's fun. So let's do the walkthrough of the Pledge Manager. Okay, let me open the website. So let me start. When we open the Pledge Manager, you will all receive emails, messages, probably, I don't know, a combination of both, through Kickstarter, to tell you to go and you know, fulfill your pledges, and how to access the Pledge Manager, etc. Essentially, it will take you to a page that I'm not showing here yet, to create your account and verify that, you know, this is your Kickstarter, the same as your Kickstarter. The way we do this is through verifying your email, and so it will be important that you use the same email address that you used on Kickstarter to, you know, sign in and create your account on the Pixels website. This is you know, something that we are actively working on, especially for the number of people that maybe signed up through Kickstarter with their Apple, whatever it's called, the hide my email feature from Apple, that don't necessarily know what the registered email address in Kickstarter is. And so we'll make sure to, you know, address those as much as we can. But if you can, right now, log into your Kickstarter account, make sure that the email address that you have there is something that you can access. It will make everybody's life easier when we start sending out those notifications for you to, you know, come and use the Pledge Manager. So, but assuming, you know, that is sorted out, you are able to get that email address and verify that it's yours, so that we can verify that you are the Kickstarter backer that you say you are. Then you will, you know, have an account, and you will end up on the next screen. But here I'm just going to log in to show you what the Pledge Manager looks like. So this is the Pixels website, the new Pixels website that you can't access yet. It's on a development server for the moment. So sometimes the loading times are not, you know, fantastic, but it's, you know, got a ton of new features, going over the different dice, the products, you know, what you can do with them, you know, links to all the community and resources that you need, and of course a store for you to get more pixels. But we'll start with the Kickstarter Pledge Manager flow. So as I log in here and say, what was the I think that was it, right? Pixels are awesome. Yes, that was the password. So assuming you you create an account, it will directly take you to this screen that I'm going to now. This is the welcome screen for pledge management. And on the back end, we pull all your information from Kickstarter, and all your rewards, the amount you pledged for, etc. And this is the email address, among other things, is what we use to verify your account. It does mean you have to create an account on yet another website, ours in this case. We think it's okay because whichever pledge manager we had used, you would have to do the same. And we're hoping that in the future, when we start offering sort of like cloud and community features for the app, and using your dice, then you'll need an account anyway. So we're hoping you guys won't be too annoyed by that. But in any case, so once you get here into this welcome page, it will summarize the backing information that we imported for you from Kickstarter, including your number, the dollar amount, the type of reward that you selected, and if you had any add-ons or any additional amount. And essentially we translate that into what it means here, right, in concrete terms. So for instance, here I backed at 1 set plus 1 die level, but I added 2 add-ons, which are 2 dice. So essentially I will have to select 1 set and 3 dice. And I also have a store credit of $50 because I just added a bonus pledge for some reason. You notice there's 2 options. The first is to select your reward items. The second is to convert to a store credit. So if for some reason you no longer want 1 set and 3 dice, you can just turn your pledge to a store credit. But be aware that the prices on the store will not be the same as the prices you had during the campaign. So if you convert to store credit, you won't quite have the same purchasing power as you did during the campaign. Another note with the convert pledge to store credit is that you also cannot go back, right? Once you convert, you just have a store credit with us and you can't really change your mind. So we'll make sure to give you extra confirmation and etc., but essentially know that. So but here I'm going to select my rewards. So I click on the redeem button. And like I said, development server, so things are a little slow, but there we are. It's a flow that follows, this sort of similar rules to most pledge managers, where you select your reward items one at a time, right? So I have 1 set and 3 dice, right? So I will select sets 1, 2, and then dice 1, 2, 3, right? And then I'll confirm my selection. And then for each item, you can set the specific variant. So for instance, here, maybe I want the RPG set in Midnight Galaxy, or like, no, I want Aurora. I don't know, maybe I want the, initiative set in Aurora Sky or something, right? Like you'll be able to make your selection. You can get more pictures, of course, and continue your selection. Same thing with the dice. So essentially you select which color you want, which variant, which combination you want, and just click next. And you just go through the flow. It's very straightforward. Let's say I want, or a D12, maybe I want a clear, I don't know, D20, no, D8, there we go. And then, you get to confirm your selection. Very straightforward. You can change your mind at any time, go back, it's like, oh, maybe I didn't want a D12 here. I wanted another D8 or another pipped, or I don't know, maybe a D4. Nah, I want a pipped, right? And you confirm, and this one's already selected, so I can just go over here. Confirm your selection, go through the flow, very easy. And then it will confirm that all your selection has been made. There we go. It says, everything was added. And then of course we can select some more stuff. Selecting more stuff looks a lot like a store, wink wink, where you can basically pick from all the different items that we offer, as add-ons, and then later as regular for sale items for non-backers. The prices again are not going to be these are the Kickstarter prices. They will change, right? So just be aware of that. But this is basically where you could say, I don't know, maybe I want the Onyx Black D20. I'll add it to my cart, and now it's in my cart, right? So at that point, if I go to my cart, I can see that all my reward items were added, and they are worth, they are costing me 0 because of course that was a pledge reward. The last item that I added wasn't, because it was an additional item. So if you wanted to upgrade your pledge, essentially this is how you will do it. And then of course you'll be able to select shipping. These rates are incorrect. This is, I do not live in California, so but we're finishing to put this together, and this is why it's not open quite yet. But anyway, if you change your mind at this point, you can in fact, let's say for instance, remove an item here, or you can even change your mind and clear the entire reward items. You can always go back through the reward flow from your profile page at this point, right? Click on this redeem button, and then you can basically go back through, right? Until you've actually checked out, right? You can sort of always go back, except if you convert to store credit. After this, obviously, we have a fun website for you to use with, lots of features, going over all the different parts of, the dice, so you can see, why you should get pixels or where you should get more. Anyway, I think that covers most of that. So let me see if there are any questions related to this, and then I will move on to the next part. All right. In Pledge Manager, will I be able to upgrade? Yes. So in addition, from Giuseppe, in addition to Aim's question, how much will we be able to change our order? Like, can I add 5 more dice? 10, 100? Yes. John is asking, what platforms have you tested the dice on? Android, iOS, Windows? Yes, yes, and yes. And web, so any platform where web Bluetooth works. If we convert to store credit, would that change the delivery times? No, that will not. You will in fact also see the delivery time estimates, on the store pages, and then when you check out. Let me think. So no other questions on here for the moment. So let me move on to the next part, which was, oh yes, I wanted to take a brief detour, but and show you all what the amount of work that goes into certifying a product for sale and distribution. Where is the main page? There we go. Excuse me. So, we mentioned that we started mentioning certification at the beginning of the year, right? If I recall correctly. And we've been going through the process essentially ever since, and that was without any major issue. So it just takes a really long time. And let me show you the amount of work that goes into getting a item certified. So this is, for instance, the list of files that we end up with to certify one die. There are 40, almost 40 files. In actuality, there's duplicate of some, so there's like 60. You end up with like a big folder of like 60 files, right? And it's literally showing, testing the dice, you know, like for instance the radio stuff. I'm not going to go into the details because it's, you know, sort of irrelevant. I just want to show you the amount of documentation that goes through this. This is, for instance, the pictures of the test setup for EMC testing, right? So you see this big, like it's like a echo chamber kind of thing, right? For radiation, and there's the device in the middle right here. It's so tiny, it's just hilarious. There's another one here, electrostatic discharge, right? And they do their testing. This is pictures of the item, so that's not particularly exciting. This is another test setup for radio frequency. And then they have, you know, a bunch of basically charts. They measure a ton of stuff. They generate a million different things so that you are, you know, certified to be used and therefore sold in the different markets. So there's like the FCC certification for North America, for the US. There's a similar one for Canada. And everyone has, you know, specific wording, specific, you know, part of the documentation that they need. And there's so much work. So this is why you use, you know, testing labs. There's a service that labs offer, because, you know, they spend their time generating all this information, and every one of them is like, yes, you know, we measured the emission of Bluetooth, blah blah blah, and we measured all these values at all these frequencies. There's some, you know, similar testing for chemicals, for everything that has to do with what is it called, ROS, the environmental friendliness, and then eventually, you know, they give you a bunch of reports and attestation of compliance, as they call it, for different markets. But there's like just a million of those. Like this is wireless charging, right, setup, validation, and certification, and there's just so many. This is something that I'm hoping once we, you know, once I have more time, I can actually clean up and sort of share for, you know, future entrepreneurs or things like that, because I find it very interesting to see the amount of work that goes into this. You know, this is something that I, for instance, didn't have a clue really what was involved, right? And the amount of work that was involved getting all the test items out, and the process and the documentation, and, you know, the just reams and reams of paper that you have to go through. And I think that could be useful for other people to see the amount of I don't know, not just work, but like work products that need to be generated to put a new item on the market. So yeah, I figured that was you know, something that would be interesting, and I just wanted to sort of show like the just overwhelmingness of it. Let me answer, see if there are any more questions before I take a detour by the Discord and our coding test, or coding competition that we had. Let me think really quickly. There, let's go here. Pledge Manager. Oh yes, I forgot maybe to mention Pledge Manager, obviously not open yet. We are planning to open it soon. Whether that means next month or the month after, I cannot say for sure, but that's the timeline we're talking about. Before the end of the year, hopefully next month, if not in November. Things are lining up pretty well, so we're very optimistic, and as you might have noticed, things are moving faster as we go, as we get closer, so that's exciting. And but I can't be more specific than that. You will know. We'll send many messages, through the Kickstarter, uh, messaging system, update system. We'll send emails directly if we can. We'll uh, do everything we can to make sure that you are aware when the pledge manager opens, with plenty of advance time, and also so you have plenty of time before we open for late backer pre-orders, essentially. So I think that covers that. So I can now move on to the coding challenge, which was so much fun. So a little bit of introduction. When I may have talked about it in some stream prior, or at least or something like that. But a few months ago, I decided to put it up to the Discord community mostly, to see if they could improve the roll detection on the dice. So I may have covered it before, I can't remember, so I'll just go over it very quickly. If you want more information, feel free to join our Discord. There is an entire, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can. Yes, let me put this together. Collapse, 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 and collapse, collapse, collapse. Okay, cool. I will share my Discord screen. All right. If you are, if you're curious, let me see. Can I zoom in? No. Control plus. There we go. Threads? No, I don't want threads. Sorry, my bad. The rules and the explanation of the coding challenge are all on the Discord coding challenge rules channel, where I explain the principle of, there's an accelerometer in the dice, and that's how they know how they roll. However, it's difficult to determine with certainty when a die has been rolled or not rolled. All you have is a stream of XYZ acceleration readings, and from that stream you have to determine like what they mean. Like, does it, was the die rolling or not? And so I generated a bunch of not a bunch, but some sample data sets of me rolling the dice. And here's is probably a good illustration on camera, and annotating, when it looked like the die was rolling, when it was on a face, when I was picking it up, along with essentially the graph of those XYZ readings, right, which are here displayed as like sound waves essentially, but they're really just the XYZ readings of that acceleration vector. And the challenge was for any entrant to the coding challenge was to see if they could detect when a roll was happened, and if they could do a better job than the code that is already on the dice. And this was fascinating. I had about 5-6 entries, I can't remember, and they were all so incredibly different in their approach and language and their presentation and documentation, that they were super fascinating. So, more details that I explained, but then essentially,
hey, it's Jean.
Whoa, hold on. And then essentially, this is me explaining how the rolling works, and then you can see the cursor going through the different the different values as I'm rolling the die up here. So if you want to sort of like double check what is happening on screen, and so ultimately we had a number of entries, a lot of conversations, people sharing their take on how to determine what made a good roll, what made it, what differentiated a roll from a non-roll. And I have, a number of really interesting entries, interesting in part by their difference, but also like their documentation. So for instance, I'll start with this one. This was from Magic Turtle, I believe. Yes, on our Discord. This is, I believe it's called a Python notebook or something. Here, let me see if I can move my face. Hold on one second. I need to do something before I move my face. There we go. I'll remove this, and then I can. That's okay. I'll leave my face. But anyway, this was an entry by Magic Turtle, where essentially this is like an annotated code where there's like literally editable Python code interspersed with like, comments, documentation, and graphs, right? And these graphs are not just images, they're generated by this command here. And so here they were trying to identify, right, like the state, like unknown, handling, rolling, etc., based on the amount of, I believe it was, I can't remember, a difference in angle or something like that. No, radius, yeah, in magnitude of the acceleration, right, which you can clearly see. The magnitude here is 1. The die is probably not moving. Here it's like changing, probably means the die is moving, and they're trying to determine the state based on those. Or I think here they're illustrating the handwritten ones or something like that. But anyway, and they explain their whole thought process, the code that they use to make their determination, and then comparing with the results, and it was just super fascinating. Another example, for instance, if I find where was it? This one, for instance. So this was an entry by Nicholas, who is one of our two tied first place winners, actually. And they not only created code to detect roles in Python, they also generated a R script, which was completely new to me. Strange language. I believe they're like a data scientist or something like that, and this is very common in those. But essentially, this generates a PDF of like results. So like if I can I open these? No, I can't open these here. I will open them in File Explorer. Let's see. No, these are colors. There we go. So here's, for instance, the graphs that they generated, right, from the data. With the annotations and their thresholds, and it's just, again, fantastic stuff. In fact, I used their script to sort of compare all the entries together, which I'm going to get to in just a second. We've had entries in C++, in fact, or C++. I call it C+. Which was essentially drop-in replacement for the code in the die, and so that was fantastic. Nope, it was not this one. Oh, my bad. Hold on 1 second. Where did I put it? Oh, I lost it. 1 second. I will find it. Let's see. Code and challenge. I just want to share it really quick. Just give me 1 minute. Oops. Opening the file. Where is it? Hirschman. Yeah, Hirschman. There it is. So I just wanted to share that too. This is our other first place winner. They did also a fantastic job. And I don't know why Visual Studio opens for this, but their code was literally like using the same enum values that I am using in the code in the dice, and they did a tremendous job of really explaining their thought process, why they pick specific operations and how to optimize them if we need, or this can be slow, so we maybe can save a divide, or like all kinds of stuff that was very, very like hardware focused. And not only did it perform extremely well, it was it also had that extra aspect of being like, yeah, literally C++ code that I could just drop in. So all the other entries were also extremely good. In fact, almost all the entrants essentially got a reward from it. And I wanted to share a comparison of the different roles because it's super fun. So let me open the file right now, which, as I mentioned, I generated with Nicholas's R script, right? And so I had a number of entries or submissions, right? And so this is a graph of all the entries and the quote unquote state that they detected. So for instance, at the top here, we have the XYZ of the acceleration, and then there's a legend for the colors for what the state mean. But essentially you can see all the different entries sort of giving us their determination of the dice state from what the values are. At the very top are the values that I put in by hand by watching the video, and then underneath are all the entries and the comparison, right, like from one to another of the different states. So for instance, green is like it's rolling, and then the other green, which is a little bit hard to see, is when they've determined a valid roll. And so I compare this on every roll to the hand annotated values, and you can see they're all like really close, even though they all use completely different approaches, different languages, and generated the data in different ways. Like ultimately it was very much the same, or very close at least. Some made mistakes. So for instance, I can't remember whose line this is, but here they detected the die was picked up, rolled, and then picked up again, or whatever that state means. I think that's what it was, or handling or something, but it wasn't actually a roll. So, or they determine it wasn't an actual roll when in fact it was, and these other entries did. So they didn't get this one, and I sort of like used this as a metric for essentially comparing how well the rolls did. But yeah, and so this is fascinating to watch all the different cases and look at how quickly one or the other algorithm works. So for instance, this last one here, whenever it was correct, was often the fastest, but it was also often wrong. So here, for instance, it detected 2 rolls when really there should only be 1. And so it was just fascinating to go over all these, and ultimately also like see what non-rolls were not triggered, right? Meaning, so like if I pick up the die and I move it, I don't want the die to think it's a roll, and so that was also an important thing here. Anyway, so ultimately we got to the end, and I sort of like compared the number of incorrect determinations they made, and also compared with the existing code. And you can see, for instance, like our 2 winners did better than the existing code, which is this line here, and all the entries did better in terms of speed. And it's true because I looking at the code that I wrote, there's sort of a filtering that happens that obviously isn't necessary, that kind of delays everything. And so now, thanks to our Discord community and people who were willing to spend their time on this coding challenge, I will be able to improve the quality of the roll detection in the dice. This is fantastic, and so I am really, really happy, and I want to say thank you to all of them again, and congratulations. So on this note, I'll go over a few more questions again, and see if there is anything else for me to mention. So, whoops, let me put this back over here and answer questions if I can. So 1 second, let me see, go back to my question log. Live stream questions. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. I'll probably give it another few minutes to see if any come in late, and then I will probably end this stream. Let's see. So let me share pictures again, just because they were fun while I wait. Whoops. For a few more questions. Where's the, oh, there you are. Whoop. Fun questions. There we go. Yeah. So again, I love this red. I don't know why. It's also nice to see all the fixtures, you know, improving, getting more together, etc. It's just fantastic. Very, very happy. I know you're all probably tired of seeing D20s all the time. Don't worry. Let me think if there is anything else. Any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to end it here. Let me check in really quick. Oh, wrong. No, I did not want this. Oh, sorry. I will tell you what, we have to use Teams internally for communication because, you know, all Google products and Slack are kind of blocked in China, and oh God, I miss it so much. Teams is not great. Anyway, so anybody else out there who's also suffering because of Microsoft Teams, you know. Anyway, all right. Well, on this note, I am going to say thank you all for joining the live stream. If you have any more questions, feel free to join our Discord and ask your questions there. Look for some more fun challenges coming up. I am thinking about a new non-coding challenge to start very soon. We'll see. I will be again traveling next month, early next month. I'll probably spend most of October in China. So the next update, you'll probably see pictures of me in factories or something. I'll try not to look too dumb and bring you some good news. Let's see if there is anything else. Otherwise, I think that's the update. Yeah, Pledge Manager, again, you know, aiming for next month, or if for whatever reason something happens, you know, November, but things are looking good. And I believe that's it. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.